Hey, everybody. I'm just messing. All right, how are we doing on our daily successes? I know you kind of, you gave me the whole rundown of last week. So whatever you're doing, what does it look like if we stretch it this week? Most of us lost a day yesterday, right? So what if we take that and pro forma it out for the rest of the week? So if I had 10 connections and 10 messages and 10 handwritten cards that I was supposed to do Monday, but I didn't do it because, we took a day off. Where can I put that in for the rest of the week? Highly encourage you to stretch yourself a little bit more this week because this is week 3. We're almost done. We're halfway there. So I just wanted to kind of push that a little bit more with these activities because this is where you take all your learning and put it into action. Don't worry, I will catch you up on everything. So we've invited Susan today to come talk to us about how you follow up with leads. So Susan, how long have you been in real estate?
19 years.
19 years. And how many years at KW?
Since 08.
So quite a while. Do you feel like you've kind of seen all the different stages of real estate and kind of come back around and a little bit the same, a little bit the different?
I've seen a lot of them and there's more to come. So we're shifting as things go and yeah.
And how do you handle a shift?
I think you kind of just keep doing what you need to do. That was a big thing for me when I started out. I got in 05 and in 06 things started looking weird, and by 08 it was bad. And that's when I came to Keller Williams, and I had a lot of family members saying, are you still trying to sell real estate? Well, yeah, I just kept showing up, and I didn't have this training. And at the time, Keller Williams didn't have this training. And so it was just make phone calls, make phone calls, make phone calls. And there's so much more to it than that. So, yeah. But just keep doing the stuff because the business will come. Is it going to be different? Yes. Is it better when the market comes back? If you stick with it, when the market comes back, you've gotten yourself in a much better position than everybody else who's gone, I don't know what to do. I guess there's nothing to sell or buy. So
because that's the thing is you say, because it will come back, right?
Yeah.
And where we're at now is nowhere like when Susan came in to real estate and came into KW. And I don't think we'll ever get back to that.
It was bad.
They've changed so many things that I don't feel like that will ever happen again. But we've got to adapt and pivot and change, right? So now she's made it through 08. She's made it through COVID, super hot buyer market, super hot seller market. You've kind of seen, I hate to say it all, but a good chunk of what's out there. Yeah. So really great information. I would have to say she wouldn't be here today if follow-up wasn't a huge part of her game. Agreed?
Correct.
Yeah, cool. So engage as you always do and ask her all the questions because she's got a wealth of knowledge. So thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. So you guys tell me your names. I see you've got name tags. How do you pronounce your name?
Jocelyn.
Jocelyn. Okay, very good. Very good. And Erin? And Christina. Boy, I love the name tags because now I can call on you guys. Just kidding. So how long in real estate? Erin, let's start with you.
I've had my license since September of 21, but just really started pursuing it the last couple months.
Okay, all right. And Jocelyn, how about you?
Since January this year.
Very good. Okay.
Since June of last year, so a year.
6 months. So, anybody on the team? All solos? You're on the team. Whose team are you on?
Elise Riley's team.
Oh, good. Okay, cool.
Team
Okay.
Vanessa Williams.
Very good.
Mhm.
Okay, very good. All right. So, my name is Susan. I, mother of 5 and 7 with a blended family. Life is crazy, chaos. I raised my family selling real estate. I had my last child within a year of getting my real estate license, and I was negotiating my contract about 2 hours after he was born, sitting on the hospital bed. So you don't really stop and take 6 weeks off. You just kind of keep moving. And my kids grew up in the car. They knew the lingo. They were used to signs rattling in the back of the car. My bonus daughter got in the car the other day, and I had a sign sitting up and it was rattling, and she doesn't like noises. And she's like, that's really bugging me. And I thought, wow, my kids didn't even notice it because it was so normal to them. But she's, we've only known each other for a few years. I said, well, that sign means one of two things. I said, what would that be? And she said, you sold a house. And I said, it either means I sold a house or I'm getting ready to sell a house, to list one. So that sign, that rattling means money to me in my car. So, I'm sorry, you'll just kind of have to get used to it. So anyway, so this class is a little bit, it's hard for me to stay away from the next class because the next class is where you really cultivate the leads. Okay. So they kind of blend together, they run together. So I apologize in advance if I cover anything that's gonna be covered in the next class. Show up for that one too, because it'll be good. We're gonna talk about following up with leads and let me see if this is gonna work.
They've been using the mouse.
Yeah, then we'll use the mouse.
Then we'll start working on the.
This?
Is it not even working on the mouse?
Oh, and I'll just tell you guys, technology is not my thing, so. Yeah. So, that would be great. Yeah, okay, cool, okay, thank you. All right, so, there's not a magic formula to get into real estate. I've had people that I actually, they came to me and said, I want to get my real estate license. And they're like, tell me what I need to do. I'm like, you need to show up at open houses. You need to follow up with your leads. You need to shadow agents that know what they're doing. And she's like, no, you're not telling me what I need to know. I'm like, yes, I am. And there's no magic formula except showing up and doing the work. It's like any other job. The beauty is we get to, unless you're on a team, we get to be our own boss. And so that's a nice thing. So does anybody have any questions or anything that you want to make sure we cover before we get into the class today? Anything so far that's like, oh my gosh, what have I got myself into? I'm scared. I love it. Anything at all?
I was gonna say, yeah, I'm excited to hear what you have to say. I love the people aspect of it. We were just talking at lunch about just almost like we lost what it's like to nourish a relationship.
Mhm.
And this has brought back what that means and what that looks like in authenticity.
Yes.
And just love on the people around you. And it's like the coolest thing in the whole world.
I've got goosebumps because
So,
their training at Keller Williams has kind of evolved. And for a while it was just make phone calls, make phone calls, make phone calls and, dialer and all that. And that works for some agents. It is not me. I have a MAPS coach and she's like, you just don't, that's not easy for you, is it? No. So we found other ways for me to get out and connect with people because I am relational. And I don't want to just ask for your business and get off the phone. I can't do that. I just can't do that. So anyway.
So I'm excited to hear what you have to say.
So if you love the relationship aspect, it's just a recipe for success in my opinion. That's a big deal. Okay. So this is some of the stuff that we're going to cover today. I'm going to move pretty quickly because I don't want this to be redundant, but we are going to talk about how we're going to follow up with the leads. And I'm even going to give you an example of one that I did this morning just to kind of, hey, I know you're stressed and that kind of thing. So, and then of course we want to talk about strengthening the relationships and all that. And that just doesn't include buyers and sellers. I got a phone call just as I was coming down here from an agent who heard that she was doing such and such a business and she thought I was going to go rat her out. I'm like, I think it's an awesome opportunity. And so now we have this, great connection. She's like, oh my gosh, we should do lunch sometime. She's not a Keller Williams, so that's kind of cool. Okay, so you guys have talked about lead conversion. We're going to talk about lead conversion and converting it to an appointment. We've done this, right? You've gone through this, correct? Okay. And then we want to also make sure that your conversion rate gets improved. It gets improved, and then we'll talk about what you guys have learned, hopefully something. I don't want to waste your time at all. Okay. You guys can read, the effort you give to converting leads must match the effort you give to generating them. So we can go out and pay for leads. We can go out and meet people. We can door knock and bring phone numbers and all that home. And then what? We've got, we've got a lead. Great. If you don't do that, it's like putting seed in the garden and you haven't tilled the ground, you haven't done anything to prep for it, you haven't put any compost down, you've got weeds everywhere, and thread some seeds out and you don't water it, it's just not gonna work. So you captured the lead, you connect, cultivate, close on them. The consistency is the thing with this, and that's the hard thing. You guys were talking about, you had lunch and it's so cool and all that. I'm a very social person, so I want to go out and have lunch. And sometimes it's hard for me to say, I need to stop and follow up with people and connect with people and all that. Or I promise 20 people that I want to have lunch with them, and I only have 5 days in the week that I can do that. And a couple of those days are out because I've got other commitments and things, so. Okay, so you've got the possible business. Some of it's going to come to you. It's going to be pretty obvious in conversation. You're going to, just by conversation, you're gonna engage with people and get business. But we want to make the business profitable. So funny story, I'm in a hair salon getting my hair done. I have oil everywhere. You girls know what I'm talking about. And I had been sitting in the waiting area waiting for my appointment, and there was another lady in the waiting area. And as I was sitting there, I took a phone call and I said, oh, yes, blah, 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 I'll be by, listing and pictures, whatever. I don't know what it was. And so I go back and I'm sitting there getting my hair done, foils everywhere, sticking out everywhere. And this lady wheels a lady up in a wheelchair and she goes, I overheard your conversation. Are you a real estate agent? And I said, yes, I am. Yes, I am. Oh, wait, this is terrible. This could not be happening. Well, this older lady that she was there to help, she was her caregiver, and they were getting ready to downsize and sell their house. And she had heard my conversation and was actually sitting in the waiting room, get this, looking at the newspaper, trying to find a real estate agent to help them list their house. So I met with them, we sold their house. That's a process with elderly people. It's a little different. And she ended up referring several people to me. And because she was caregiver for all these seniors that needed to sell their houses. So you just never know when you're going to do business, and you need to be ready to do that. You need to be brave enough to stand at a gas pump and stick your head around and say, hey, you guys, if you hear a conversation, especially, don't be shy about it. You can be tactful without, so. All right. So when you guys get a lead, what is your process? Where are you meeting people? Let's go back and ask that. Where are you meeting people?
Here,
Church.
yeah, neighborhood. What I'm trying to do lately is going door to door, door knocking. So,
Absolutely, that's a good thing to do. Have you all done open houses? Okay, all right. Open houses have been the lifeblood of our business. I've had some really cool opportunities. I've worked with the builder. I've worked a lot with the hospital, relocating physicians and things like that. So that's all awesome. But being present and being at open houses, I'll tell you, just recently an open house that I was at 8 months ago, almost a year ago, couple bought it. She was staying at her parents' house every night anyway, because her husband was working nights. They had a baby. They're like, we don't even need this house. We're never here. So that I sold their house. The open house, a lady and her mom came in and they just talked, and I got a phone call 2 weeks ago. Shame on me, did not get their contact information at the open house. So that's on me. I get a phone call and she says, hey, I don't know if you remember us, but we met you at such and such open house. And my mom and I would like to talk to you. We have 4 family members that want to sell their houses and we want to buy one piece of land. And we don't even know where to start. So I went on 4 listing appointments and I will be getting 4 listings and we will be helping them buy one. And it was just because I showed up. Now, so open house is a really great way to meet people. Do you guys go into furniture stores and they chase you around? Can I help you? Can I help you? My son and I have this game we play. We go in a store and say, let's see how far we can get through the store without having a conversation with anybody. So I don't know why, but we think this is fun entertainment. So we go in and we try to dodge the salespeople to get through. And sometimes we get out without being greeted. And we're like, how did we do that? That's the mindset a lot of people come to open houses with. So who's done open houses again? All of you have. Do you know the people that walk in and they're like, I don't want to see you. I don't know why you're here. And so I'll tell you how I start that conversation with people. I say, here, my name's Susan. I'm the listing agent here. You did not come here to see me today, I know, but I'm here if you have any questions. Does that like let them out off the hook? And then I say this, but I do, oh gosh, I will mess this thing up. I might need some more help. I'm holding this in my hand and I'm gonna mess it up, so I apologize.
What do you need to get back?
I don't know what I did. I hit something or I got out of it. I apologize.
Is this a slide that you're
There you
on?
go. Yeah, thank you.
I'm gonna steal this for a second. too.
Okay. I don't know why I did that, but I'll try and be more careful. So, and then I say, I'll tell you what, though, I do really owe it to my sellers to give them some feedback. So if you wouldn't mind at the end, I'm, just telling them what you think about the house, the good, the bad, you're not gonna hurt my feelings. Does that kind of let them off the hook? Do they always come back and give me feedback? No. Do they sometimes sneak out the back door anyway? Yes. Do I still get a little bit more conversation with them just because I'm not there to just be in their face? I'm not going to follow them around and all that. Had a team member, she wanted to get into production, sweet girl. She really wanted to sell real estate. And that's one of the aspects of my admin on my team is I let them do production if they want to. So she wanted to host an open house. So she was doing her open houses, never getting a lead, never getting a sale. Something's not right. I said, I'm going to go with you. We're going to do the open house together. So she, first people come in the door and I'm in the kitchen kind of behind a wall. And I usually try to come around and say, hey, I'm here, not, she went like this. I'm not kidding you. Hi, how are you doing? I'm so glad. And I was like, oh my gosh, no wonder nobody is, engaging with her. And I was like, okay, let's step back. Let's give them some time. They're not here to see us. They don't want to see us. They want to ignore us. They want to get through the house and leave. They don't want to answer any questions. They don't want to give me their phone number. So I've got to engage with them to get that, to build that relationship. So, all right. So capture the lead. What kind of questions can y'all ask to get a lead that's just not, can I have your phone number?
Like in an open house
Any
situation?
situation.
I do like the question, if you're having that conversation with them about open houses and seeing it, asking if they've gone to other open houses in the area. And then if they start talking about houses that they want to see, you can ask, how are you getting into the door of houses that are not open houses? That way you're subtly asking if they have an agent or not. I can't remember who it was, but
That's a good one.
I like that.
My daughter was on my team for a while and now she does marketing for 417 Flat Branch, Scott Slee, that group. So I'll give them a shameless plug. But she was at an open house and the couple came in, they had come to see our open house and then they were going to go to another open house. And I think they had an appointment to go to the other open house or they had it scheduled. She goes, I'm getting ready to close up here. I can go show you that house. And we've helped them buy and sell several properties. Now they invite me to all their social stuff and they have parties and stuff like that all the time. So it's just, asking the questions.
Yeah.
Also, hey, it sounds like you're looking for the perfect house. How in the world am I going to reach you if I find that house? And just try and find a creative way of doing that. Flyers at open houses are great. Everybody kind of expects you to hand them one. But if I run out or I don't print a whole lot on purpose, I can say, I'm so sorry I ran out of flyers, but I can email you one if you like the information. And it's got their email address. If they don't want to give it to you guys, you're not going to get it out of them. They're just not. But if you find ways to engage, if they feel safe with you, they're going to give you all the information that you want, right? So the other day somebody was texting me, I said, I will need your email address. I need your husband's number. She was at work, and before I knew it, I had email addresses, their address. I had everything that I need so we can start building a relationship with them. So I will tell you guys something. Come on in. If you can sit kind of closer up so I can not have to yell so much, that would be awesome. I saved that for at home. Go ahead.
Or what I did was I passed open houses. I would put a radius like maybe half mile or a mile of vacant listings. And I also check if I'm able to show them. I print them out and, ask them what they're looking for and show them if they were, interested. I can go show them afterwards.
Right. Yeah.
So that's a way to go
Absolutely.
further.
And if the same person walks into a few open houses, they've just come from an open house where the person was just like, give me your information. Do you want to buy this house? That kind of thing. And then they come into your open house and you go, oh yeah, that house down the street has 4 bedrooms and this one only has 3 and you're looking for a 4-bedroom. After this open house, I'll be happy to show you. Why don't I take your number because I'm finishing up here and then I can text you and we can meet down there. Find a way to get that information. Krista is our office manager. She really likes when I get email, phone number, address, all the stuff. I'm not as good at this, guys. I'm still learning. After 19 years, I learned everything kind of the hard way. So keep that in mind. Any other questions that you can ask somebody to get contact information? You can think of? I see. Hi, thanks for being here. Anything?
I like what this is about if I were to need to contact you. I like that.
Yeah. And guys, just remember, everybody gets sold to all the time. So most people are going to know you're trying to get their contact information. If you're relational enough, they're going to give you everything they want. I had clients offer me their dogs. Look, I want your pet, but apparently you think I'm nice enough to take care of it. So I've fallen for that twice and I won't anymore. I have a client trying to give me a dog right now. I'm like, I'm not taking that. So get as much information as you can. I will tell you too, we pay for White Pages Premium. And so sometimes we can go on there. Do not call us though. Please be really careful with that because that's a big deal. It's becoming a really bigger deal than it has been. So. There you go. There's your questions. Okay, so you are doing your value proposition without realizing it. I know all the information about the houses in this area. So if you like this neighborhood, when I'm done, I can show you. I'm flexible. I'm available. You're saying I'm flexible. I'm available. I'm prepared. I've got the time, all of those things. So my value proposition part of it is I have a team. So when somebody reaches out and says, oh my gosh, we're going to be hard to get into houses because of our schedule. So, well, guess what? There's 3 of us. And so one of us will almost always be available to show you stuff. So always be thinking, what is my value proposition? Mine is going to be different from yours, and yours and yours and yours are all going to be different from each other. So be thinking about what you can do. I know nobody likes to role play, but if you guys over lunch have those conversations, hey, what would you do if somebody said this? Or call each other and act like you're a customer and, you have fun with it. But if you're prepared for those things, and when the conversations come up, it's second nature. When I'm talking to somebody, I forget sometimes that I need to be getting the information. So I just said this to my daughter today, begin with the end in mind. What's your ultimate goal when you meet somebody? You want to walk away with their name. You want to walk away with the phone number if you can, an email, an address, You can find an address too. If you get enough information, you can find an address for people, especially if they have a unique name. Jocelyn, your name is kind of unique. So if I went on the tax records, you'd probably find, you know, if you were a homeowner, I could probably find you somewhere by doing some creative searching and stuff like that. But definitely want to have that. And then also think before you walk away, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry, I did not get your email address and I'd love to invite you to such and such. So we have events throughout the year that we plan as a team. And so it's easy to say, oh, I'd love to put you on the invite for this. And so anything that you can do. The mother-daughter that walked in my open house months ago, there was something about me that they liked and we connected. And so now, you know, it was just, I wasn't pushy. I knew they weren't going to buy that house. The mom had just bought a house in the neighborhood, but I was relational and I answered all their questions and they had a lot of them and they do every time I talk to them. But somehow there was a connection there and that's what you're looking for. And to me, open houses are a really great way to do that. People are there, they want to see the house, but I'm going to hopefully be an added benefit to be there. So, we're just gonna go with it. What am I doing here again?
If you go.
Tell me what I didn't need to do to fix this, because I don't want to.
I don't show you because I have to go upstairs. So your mouse here, you gotta make sure it's on this left one and not this right one because it goes back and
Oh,
forth.
gotcha, okay.
All you gotta do is go up to slideshow
Slideshow,
there.
okay. Okay. Maybe that'll help. So, you guys remember Ford? Do you remember, what is that? Can you tell me?
Family, occupation, recreation, dreams.
If someone comes up in the chat, it'll come up right there.
Oh, okay, all right, thank you. Okay, it's crazy. What do you guys love to do? What do you do for fun in the area? Oh, you're new to the area. What do you guys like to do? I tour physicians that interview with the hospital some, and so when they get in my car, I have about a minute to decide if I'm gonna go right or left out of the parking lot. So I have to know, are we renting, buying? Do you guys, are they gonna be conversive or are they gonna just be closed lip? Do they think they're still in the interview or do they realize that I'm a safe person they can ask any questions to? I have to do all that without going, who are you? Why are you here? Are you gonna rent or buy? Am I gonna have business with you? You know, I have to say, hey, so where are you staying? And just need to ask you a few questions before we get out of the parking lot, because I don't get a lot of information. Same thing as at an open house. What do you guys do for fun in the area? What's your favorite thing about the neighborhood? A neighbor comes in to your open house. What do you love about the neighborhood? They're gonna tell you, oh my gosh, the pool's excellent, or the sidewalks are awesome, or I love the trees, or I hate the kids, or, you know, whatever. A lot of this is just a conversation. Why do they want to do it? You know, what brought you out to open houses today? Well, we're really not even looking. We just saw the signs and we love looking at open houses. Great. That's how I got into real estate. Have you ever thought about a career in real estate? Or great, love that you came by. We just, since you're not in the market for a home right now, would you mind taking a look around and giving me some feedback? Because you guys are unbiased. You're not looking for a house, so it's cool. Ask when they're gonna need something. I've had people who said, hey, listen, we're really sorry. It was a lead source that I got, and they're like, we're not buying a house for a couple of years. Okay, great. I need a paycheck. I didn't say this out loud. Mentally, I said, I need a paycheck in a couple of years. So I'd love to be your go-to person. They contacted me within 2 months and said, hey, change of plans, we're moving. So if I would have said, well, call me when you're ready, because I don't have time for this. It's all relational. A lot of the ladies, the two ladies with the 4 family members and all that, they needed me to tell them how their plan was gonna work, because they've got 4 houses to sell and they have some very strategic things that need to happen. So, you know, they wanted me to tell them, what do you think would work best for our situation? So that's kind of fun. I was like, well, it sounds like you need to sell first, then you're probably gonna move in with this family member. And then what happens to this person over here? And y'all all get along, right? And yes, we do. So I'm helping put this whole thing together. It could take a couple of years for it all to happen, but it all started with an open house. So it's about $500,000, $1.5 million in volume when it's all said and done. So not a bad thing. Okay, you can't know or predict when they will come to a decision, but if you're reconnecting with them in a systematic way, you'll have a chance of being there when they do. I will tell you, when somebody comes to your mind, text them, call them, something, drive by their house and say, I just drove by your house and I thought of you. I can't tell you the times over the years where I have seen, thought of somebody, literally thought of them and thought I should call them today. And 2 days later, I drive by their house and there's somebody else's sign in the yard. And I don't know how that is. I'm not into universe stuff and all that. My faith is really important to me, but when I think of somebody, it's just a big deal to reach out and say, hey, I was thinking about you. Who wouldn't love that phone call? It doesn't have to be about real estate. I just thought of you. COVID was the best time ever to build relationships because nobody was going anywhere and everybody was scared out of their ever loving minds and didn't know what was going to happen. And a phone call to somebody to say, just thinking about you, how are you guys holding up? Well, I'm not selling my house. I know. I'm sitting at home with my kids kind of wondering what's going to happen too. And I just want to let you know I'm here. Do you need any groceries? Can I drop something off on your front door? No, but so just constantly be thinking about that. The systematic thing is really important too. I have a tendency to assume that people don't want to talk to me. Shame on me. I assume that they've already told me they don't want to buy a house right now. And it's just unbelievable, the people that call and say, or I call and say, no, I was just checking on you. They're like, well, it's weird you called because we were going to call you over the weekend and see if you could come by our house. So be thinking about those relationships, because that phone call where you're not even asking for business, you're just caring about somebody it's a really big deal. So Sam, how long have you been in real estate?
I started off on the admin side as an office manager, then became a licensed TC 2 years ago. And then I just went full agent in March.
Okay, are you solo or on a team?
I'm on a team,
Okay, which team?
Rob Luck.
Okay, cool, very good. Very good. When you're on a team, you get the opportunity of having events that you can plan. And even as a solo agent, you can do some of those things, but you might want to partner up with somebody because they can be a little bit taxing. But we've done blood drives. We do a pie invite every Thursday. Every Thanksgiving. Every Thursday would be awesome. That'd be like going to, what's the pie place? Village Inn for free pie every Wednesday. So we're talking again about getting text, the email, phone call, in person. I came around the corner the other day, bam, you were talking about door knocking. I ran smack dab into a lady that I met door knocking, and we've been Facebook friends, and they have never done business with me. We talked about going to bingo together, which is not my thing, but I'll go to bingo to build a relationship. And there she was standing there, and I was like, oh my gosh, I have a new Facebook page, and we're not friends on Facebook, so I'll be looking you up, and how are the kids and all that stuff. So just always be ready. I'll warn you, in this industry, you have nothing but your reputation, and that's about it. So if you screw that up, you're going to spend the rest of your career running around going, oh my gosh, I don't want to see them. I don't see them. So if you take good care of people, even if things don't go perfect in a transaction, you take good care of people and they're going to think you're awesome. We had a couple that just closed a few months ago. Lots of stuff that happened on the buy side of the house they were buying. And at the end, they were like, you guys are so awesome. And they sent us gifts and a card, and there was nothing in our control that happened, but we just had to stick in there with them through the hard times and make some hard phone calls and say, hey, this isn't working out how we thought, but here we are and we'll get you through it. So. Somebody want to read this for me?
In the end, if they can meet and have a good enough reason to meet, they will meet. And if they don't, they won't. And that's okay. You really don't care what their answer ultimately is because you're not getting people to do anything they don't want to do. You're just going to ask and respond until they agree that meeting with you makes sense, or it doesn't. Either way, you both win.
Are you gonna win every single conversation? Are you gonna get every phone call number? Are you gonna every email address? Are people gonna give you bogus numbers and stuff like that? They are, absolutely, they are. Oh, you guys need this app if you don't have it. It is called QRMe. Anybody using that?
What is
It is an app. It's called QRMe. You get your phones out. So I'm going to mega camp in August. Instead of carrying a bunch of business cards.
Fancy.
And everything's there. And then it goes, and guess what?
Mhm.
Do I have their number? Yes, I do.
You do?
Yeah,
How do you do that? Like that's.
it's an app. It's called QRMe.
We did that the other day with my iPhone, it wouldn't work.
We'll come back to you.
Weird.
That's totally because,
Because I have an Android and it's probably
Oh.
outdated.
That might be what it is. Here you go, Sam. I'll show you guys what the app looks like.
so how do you now have my information? How, like,
I think you can send it back to me now.
Oh, okay.
So
So,
click happy, sorry.
oh, did it not take?
It did. It just sent you a call.
Oh, okay, that's good. That's fine. This is what the app looks like. It's called QRMe. Then, because I'm forever not having my business cards with me, guys. I don't do a lot of things right. I
they're
forgot.
kind of going out. This is what's
I
kind of
know.
coming in,
And it's
so.
all right there. And then I can say, oh, great, now what's your name? You know, and then start with that. So that's a good format for that. I even forget that I have that sometimes. Shame on me. Okay. All right, so we're gonna talk about conversion rates right now. Honestly, that last quote, if they don't want, they won't. But if you're relational enough, they're definitely going to want to do more business with you. So when you are following up with people systematically, is that going to improve your conversion rate? Okay. We don't care if we want people to open up our email every month that we send out. Because there's information, there's like good information in our newsletters. But if they don't open it, are they seeing Susan Herron, Red Door Associates at the title of that? Bam, every month they see it. Every month they know I'm staying in touch. And I have some clients that are, oh, this is such a lovely letter. I'm like, okay, but it's good. And then the events and some of those things are really, really great. But the constantly staying in touch with people, letting them know you were thinking of them, it will freak some people out. You're like, hey, I was just thinking about you. I see their name in my phone and I'm like, oh my gosh, I just saw your name in my phone and I thought about you. So I don't condone being fake in this industry at all. It just doesn't get you anywhere, I don't think. So. Okay. So when you get their information, the best thing to do then, the connection is the finding out how you can help them. That's where you start asking the questions. Cultivating the relationship is just, hey, I'm staying in touch with you. I didn't get the appointment on that one contact I made at the open house that I shamefully did not get their contact information and did not follow through with because I just wasn't thinking. I was like, she bought a house. Why would anybody want to do? The daughter was happy in her house. We just stood there and chatted. But then they call. So asking for the appointment is really easy. If somebody's not sure, say, hey, listen, I get it. You may or may not be ready. If you would like for me to come by, I'm happy to do that. I've got a few evenings free this week. No pressure. If you guys aren't ready to sell your house after we talk, that's fine. They're like, well, if you don't mind, we don't want to waste your time. Do I want a thoughtful client like that? Absolutely. So anything that you can do to close and get the appointment and get in the door is just a good thing. So I get really excited when people are trusting enough to invite me into their home. That still doesn't get old after 19 years. When you trust me and you're ready to show me your closet, because I have to look around your house and I have to look in the most, you have to look in every room. And when you're vulnerable enough to show me your closet and your bathroom and, that kind of stuff, then it's like, okay, we're good. So don't be hesitant to ask for that. And if they say, no, we're not even ready for that, that's okay. Hey, listen, that's totally fine. When you're ready, please give me a call. And do you mind if I follow up with you from time to time, just see how things are going? I love Facebook and Instagram, anything like that. It is such a neat way to know that people are having babies and, oh, wait, I sold them a 3-bedroom house and now they have 3 children. How's that working out for them? But relationally, I can stop by and say, I'm one of those people that's with germs and stuff like that. I'm like, they don't want me holding their baby. I don't need to see their baby. What they need to know is that I care enough to stop and leave a gift on their front. Hey, I didn't want to bother you. Didn't want to wake the baby or anything, but I left a gift on the front porch for you. And I just closed a couple recently that I had done that with, and it just touched them. It was just a neat thing to know, so. All right. So have you guys yesterday was a holiday. Do you guys know what Juneteenth was yesterday? Okay. It's apparently the celebration of the signing of the Emancipation Proclamations, freeing slavery. So I was like, what? We've got another holiday. And I was like, that's really cool. So who did their notes yesterday?
I didn't do them yesterday.
I didn't do my notes, but I did do my contact stuff. I was here, so I worked on it.
How are your contacts going when you guys are talking to people?
I mean,
One of mine is like social media engagement
yeah.
Okay.
and really good.
Good. Are you guys posting only about real estate or are you posting about other stuff?
Other stuff too.
Do you have fear of posting personal things and then people think you're not available for their stuff? Okay. I went through all the stuff because I was around when Facebook didn't exist. So it took a while for us to start learning how to get into it and stuff like that. So my pages were like really, really long on this. And then we went through everything super, super fast. So let's talk a little bit more about the consistency of doing this. If you can nail this, guys, it's a game changer. People will love, everybody loves getting mail. So think about this. Getting their children's birthdays or finding out what month the birthday is. You don't need to get that specific unless they want to give it to you, and send them a $5 Andy's gift card. Someone to celebrate your birthday and say, now if they have 10 kids and they don't have a lot of money and you send one gift card to one child, then what's going to happen? They're going to feel obligated to buy it or they're going to be like, oh, great, we've got one and we have 10 kids. That's an exaggeration. But those are some things that you can do to kind of build that relationship and just say, hey, I was thinking about you. Because does that say anywhere that I want to buy or help you buy or sell a house? Nothing at all. To say you care. Totally. Our pie event that we do usually the Monday or Tuesday before Thanksgiving. We had a couple that came by and they said it was one of their favorite Thanksgiving traditions. Guys, they pull in the parking lot in front of our tent and we hand them a pie and take a picture. It's one of their favorite Thanksgiving traditions. I can't even explain it. Other people are like, why would I want a pie? It's a Costco pie, guys. It cost me $6. And we get sponsors to help us with it because we do mail outs and things. So there's more costs than just a pie. But those are things that are just very much staying in touch with people and people look forward to it. Now, unfortunately, we have some clients who say, well, I bought 2 houses from you, so I want 2 pies. I'm like, really? You're that desperate for 2 pies? Then take the 2 damn pies. I'm okay with that. We had a guy that we had on our mailing list, and Alan and Chris and I will sit there and we'll try and figure out who who the person is, because they'll pull up and we're like, oh crap, who is this person? What's their name? You know, and sometimes they'll offer it to us or they'll hand us the invite and then we'll know, oh yeah, hey, it's so good to see you, you know. But this guy came by and we finally figured out who he was, and he bought one of our listings, and we had dual agent, and he was a nightmare to work with. And he opened up his trunk, and guys, he had like 4 or 5 other pies from other teams. He was going around and collecting pies from everybody. He was on that mailing list for everybody. So there's just some people out there that are total jerks, but there's the people that you build the relationships with and that you just constantly stay in touch with, so.
I just hope that he took the pies and he did something good with them, like.
I guarantee you this guy stuck them in his freezer and hoarded every single morsel of them himself. I don't think they went to a homeless shelter, you know, I'm just gonna tell you, there's no way that happened. So, one other thing too is when you get to the point where you have enough business, if we have a client that's not treating us right, you can fire a client, they can fire you, you can fire them too. So don't be afraid to do that. Because that I take personally, I have team members that are going out on a limb in my name. All the documents are signed in my name and they're going out, and if they're getting mistreated by my clients, it's just not gonna happen. So I've made phone calls before and said, you're not treating my people that way anymore. So, go through. Social media engagement, I would really caution you to be careful about not overdoing that. Balancing family, fun, friends, that kind of thing. When I went on vacation, I really struggled with my clients knowing I was on vacation, because I thought that they would think I wasn't working for them if I was gone. And I had to get to the place where I would say, hey, I'm gonna be gone. I'm gonna unplug for a week, but I have these awesome people over here, and you guys can partner up with each other. Cause I did that before. I left my phone with my friend who's in real estate at one point, and I unplugged for a whole week, and I came back and she had managed my whole business for me. I didn't pay her any referrals or anything on anything she did. And when she went on vacation, I did the same thing for her. So I didn't lose any income. My business got taken care of, and I got a week away from my phone, which was kind of nice after doing all that. So those are some tips. The first vacation I went on after I got my real estate license, I was hiding in a bathroom stall at Disney World, trying to hide that I was doing business for my family. So, let me ask you guys about your value proposition, because that's something that you're going to share to kind of bring people along and cultivate that relationship and get the information. So anybody want to share what they feel like their niche is?
AI isn't here.
No, he's not here. AI. Mr. AI.
He's another guy that's in here with us, and he's
Oh, yes.
such a good kid, and
He is,
we were
yeah.
doing our value propositions, and I said mine first thinking it was, okay, and they obliterated it, which was totally what it was for. And then he says his, and we're all like, he used AI. I'm like, you dog, but ingenious, because that is the direction everything is going, whether we like it or not.
Scary as all get out.
I attempted it over the weekend and I was not impressed. I mean, I don't know if I
Everybody
was
says you've got
not.
to continue to play with it, because I still don't like it either, but when you get the hang of it, they're like, this is where it's at.
I am a little obsessed with it right now.
Me too.
So,
My son is, he comes home, he's like, I
yeah.
did this and this is what it spit out. So let's get back to value propositions. Seriously, I would like. to
I
hear-
still haven't written mine, because it like overwhelms me, like I'm like,
Okay. So what
you're
if,
bullying me.
if I ask you this question, Corey, why would I want to do business with you?
Like literally that thought of insecurity in myself, just what I've been through.
Okay.
Like sometimes it's like crippling. I'm like, I don't know, what do you want to do? And the first thing in my head is, oh, you're a new real estate agent. Well, that's not a good one. I mean, I'm a people person. I love to care about people. I love to serve people. So that is kind of who I am, I guess. But it's still like,
Because I don't think of myself as a salesperson, and I'm gonna guess you don't either.
no.
Yeah.
If you heard my story, our stories are probably very similar, other than a few other traumas along the way in my side, but
But you want to help people. You want to make sure. I'll tell you how my story, when I started in real estate, why I started in real estate. From Tulsa here, bought our house, had a realtor who was fairly new at the time, big in the new construction stuff and all that. And literally when we moved to Nixa, there were 2 houses in our budget and 4-bedroom, 2-bath, 2 houses. Pick one or the other. One backed up to apartments, and I found out later that the other one backed up to a mobile home park, which is why we kept getting things stolen out of our car, for the few years that we lived there. So we're driving along, we're looking at houses, and we looked at more than that, but it kind of narrowed down to like, there's 2, that's it, A or B. And I just had my son. My then husband was up here working, and I was coming up on my days off looking at houses, and he was coming there, and it was just chaos. We had 3 kids at the time. And my son, I couldn't feed him because I was with her and we were in a car, and he was crying, and she looked at me and she goes, "Have you ever heard of a pacifier before?" And as a young enough mom at the time that I was like, okay, so I go and buy a pacifier. And then for 2 years, I'm trying to get this thing away from my son because of one comment that a real estate agent made to me, because she couldn't put up with him crying for a few minutes while we were getting to our next stop so I could feed him.
I would never even think to say something
Strike
like
number
that.
1,
Yeah,
exactly.
I wouldn't have either.
So,
That would
but
cross
she
my
can
mind.
so highly recommended. I was like, she's awesome. She's the best and all that. So list our house, get ready to sell our house. And I call her and say, we're going to sell our house. And she goes, okay. So she comes over and she rips my house apart. And I'm like, oh, okay. So I do all the things that I need to do to get it ready. And we list it. Goes under contract. The buyer's agent was a friend of hers. And so I can play dumb really easy. So I kind of played dumb through some of this. But she came to me one day and she goes, hey, we had the home inspection. And I have another baby. This is my 4th child, and I had just had her. And so the inspector's there and he comes in and I'm like, hey, would you like something to drink, eat, whatever? And he's like, no. And he looked really concerned. He said, yeah, there's a crack in the foundation. Our realtor had told us that we didn't really need to get a home inspection. We were pretty tight on money at the time. She's like, well, you can save the money if you want, because the guy that's selling it to you is the builder and he's lived in it for a couple of years. And, he's a good guy. So, so we buy the house and then we have a crack in the foundation. Well, the inspection was done on day 11 of the inspection period. So on day 11 later, she comes to me and she goes, I need you to sign this extension for the inspection to go through the 11th day. And I signed that because I know what's coming now. And then the next paper was, here's the mutual release. They want to have the contract. And in the meantime, I had the buyers going around town telling people that we knew, because everybody knows everybody in Nixa, that we were unethical, that we knew the crack was there, that we blah, and all this stuff. And I'm like, I didn't know anything, So that was when I said to myself, I can do better than this. And if this is really the way somebody's going to treat me with my valued experience. During that time, I had a lender who was supposed to be awesome. She refied everybody when rates went down. She didn't make mine a priority because it wasn't a big house. So everybody else's got refied, but mine didn't. So I'm stuck at a higher interest rate because I missed the mark. So all of these things happen to me. So when I come to when somebody's like, I know 1,500 agents, what do I do? Well, I got into the real estate business because I had a bad experience with a real estate agent. I will not let that happen on your watch. If I earn my watch, if I can do anything to avoid that happening, do you think that has gotten me some appointments? Is it the truth? I'm just about as real. I had a bad experience too. Another way to connect with people is ask, tell me your experiences. Have you bought or sold a house before? They're going to tell you, especially if it was bad. Yeah, they never text me back. We couldn't get, my house didn't sell. Well, why do you think it didn't sell? I don't know. They just never told me. Well, they didn't get communicated with or whatever. There's always a way to relate to people, and you just got to ask enough questions without sounding like you're playing 20 questions with them to get that information. I can tell the look of relief on people's face when I tell them. They're like, oh, okay, good. You're not one of those slimy realtors. Like, we're not all bad, you know, but I tell them, hey, when we're done with this, I'm gonna run into you around town because in Nixa, everybody knows everybody and everybody's business. And I want to make sure that we have a great relationship afterwards. And and I'm not going away. And they're surprised when I show up a week after closing with a gift or say, I'd like to stop by and bring something to your house. Because they think, what does everybody think? We're there to get the paycheck and then we're out of there. We're done with you. But by not going away afterwards, you're building that connection with people too. So, but that's my thing. When I can tell people are like, I don't know about you. I'm like, well, I got it into real estate because I had a bad experience. And here's why I will not let you. You think last year when people were buying houses, year before, a couple of years, no inspections, whatever, we'll take the house. Here's our firstborn, here's our dog, we'll leave the beds made for you, whatever you want. We just want the house. I really struggled with that because when I got my part of my story was buying a house without a home inspection. So I tell people on my watch, you will not buy a house without a home inspection. You will email me and tell me I'm refusing a home inspection. Susan advised me to get one and I told her I would not. I want it in writing. I want to keep that in the file because if you call me 2 months or a year or 3 after closing and you say, I didn't know this was wrong with the house, I've got something to say that you said you didn't want a home inspection. So when people were going, I'm looking at them going, this goes against everything in my training, but I know you're a handyman, or I know you've got a family member. Let's look through the house as best we can. Let's look at old inspection or old disclosures, and let's see what we can find out about the house. And then you have to decide if you want this house that badly or not. And I have to know my clients well enough to know if they can afford to make some repairs, if not. So back to value proposition. I kind of told you what my story is. That's not necessarily my value proposition, but that's how I engage with people. So what would any thoughts? You serve people. I can tell that's who you are. So I would say I don't consider myself a salesperson, honestly. I love doing this, but honestly, I want to make sure you have a great experience.
No, I just want to help them.
Mhm.
Let me help you through a process that can be stressful. Let me ease the burden.
And for those of you that are single agents or newer, you can say, listen, you're right. I am a newer agent. I don't have a ton of experience, but what you have is my 100% attention because I'm not trying to run, 20 transactions at once. You've got me, and that's it. So what's your value proposition?
Basically, it's like, I see it as it's a win-win. I mean, you're working really, really hard for them to find, exactly what they need, and you're being compensated accordingly. And you build a relationship with them too. You get to work one-on-one, so I just offer that I care a lot,
What is the saying? People don't know how much you
Care until you show them how much you care, something like that.
What about you?
Pretty much the same. I did do the AI thing and I tweaked it and just played with it. And it did come up with kind of like a good one. And it says a dedicated real estate agent, passionate about helping you find your dream home or make smart investments. I'm really into the investment side of stuff right now. I just keep doing research and stuff. With expertise in negotiation, market knowledge, and personalized service. I'll guide you through a seamless and successful real estate experience. Let's work together to achieve your goals. Didn't think it was too over the top, but I didn't sound like I didn't know what I was doing.
Yeah.
You still made it you.
So
Yeah,
what
yeah.
inspired you to get into real estate?
2 things. One is just super generic. It's so weird, but I would literally go places Walmart, Target. I worked in a dental clinic for 15 years, different ones, and people would ask me if I was a real estate agent. I have no idea why. I don't know if it was my presence. I have no clue where that came from. Constantly asking me, and I'm like, no, I know nothing about real estate, but I don't know if it was just being able to conversate with people. Maybe, I don't know. But then Renessa and Justin and I went to high school together. Renessa went to high school with my boyfriend. I've known him for years, and Renessa's like, you need to do this. People would ask me the same thing. That's how I got into it. Someone said, you would do really good at this. That's why I did it. And my dad loved Renessa too. She actually sold my parents' house in Ash Grove. My dad was really sick at the time, and he ended up passing away. And he was like, this could have been you, like you could have done this. And he was just so adamant, like, you need to do this. So it all stems back to relationships. People just felt like I was that kind of a person, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah. You know, that could be part of your story too, is telling people, my dad really, you know, that was one of his wishes for me as he passed, was he wanted me to get into real estate, and it's been a perfect fit for me ever since.
He did. It was literally like, I took the class, didn't even pass the test the first couple times. My 6 months lapsed. 3 years go by and my dad gets sick. He ends up passing. And then literally 1 month later, I had my license. I was just like, it was meant to be.
You were inspired by your dad. So I would tell that story.
Yeah.
That's very relational, and that's going to help you connect with
Yes.
people. And that's really what today's class is about, is keeping the lead, capturing it, you know, what to do with it. How about you, Sam?
It's been a weird, well, not weird, but I mean, I knew there would be transition time coming from the admin side, and for a long time I said I wasn't ever going full agent, but I kind of like in the fall, I became recently empty nested from being a single mom for last 18 years. And and then with that comes a little bit of financial piece. So I was like, you know, just everything was kind of in the right situation. But before this, I did a lot of hospitality sales, and that conversation would come up there that, you know, real estate would be a good fit for me. So business to business is my niche. So I'm trying to figure out how to work that in to my value proposition. Like, of course, like I've even kind of started going out to other hotels and asking, you know, for maybe doing some events there and in exchange for like discounted rates for clients, and like to work my way up eventually to where, you know, obviously it's just like, oh, I'll conquer stay, you know, but baby steps, you know, but you know, something like that to be a part of my value proposition. And you know, just just getting in it for not, like, I love community involvement and watching the community develop and grow. So I definitely eventually one day go the commercial route, but again, baby steps. So I gotta start somewhere. So
Well, it sounds like you're reinventing yourself.
yeah.
It's very relational too, though.
Yeah.
So many people are empty nesters at so many different points. That is so relational.
I remember, I met with a couple one time, and I still remember sitting across the desk from them, and the guy looked at me and he goes, are you, now mind you, this was probably 17 years ago. He's like, are you even old enough to know what we're trying to do here? So I'll tell you, as you get older, there's some stuff that comes, people just automatically trust you a little bit more. You know, I've raised kids, I've bought and sold houses, there's some experience there. So I take that to, you know, to my advantage, not really in a greedy way. It's just like, no, I've lived a lot of life, and I've got some experience, and I can tell you tips on how to sell your house with a bunch of kids when they're little, and how to do that, and how to start packing things up, and you know what to do. And this is what worked for me, and this is how we got it done. And yes, I threw dirty dishes in the stove a time or two. I threw dirty laundry in the back of the car. You know, I never left any children at home, but you know, that could happen too, I'm sure. But we had a system of how to do that. How about your value proposition?
Well, so I came, like we were talking about this day, I worked at 911 for 15 years, and I put that, while I was working there, I took the class and got my license, and then I quit cold turkey and joined Keller Williams in June of last year. And I had just got to the point where I was just very emotionally and mentally exhausted, but I still wanted to help people, but I didn't know how. And then I've known Elise for many, many years because she used to be a Green County deputy and I was a dispatcher for her. And so her and I started talking, and she said she needed a buyer's agent. And that's when I started kind of job shadowing her and going through the class and everything, and then quitting and joining her team. And it just felt nice to be able to still help people, but in a much more happy setting, I guess you can say, helping them make a life change or a life decision or whatever. And this being a good moment for them rather than dealing with the worst day of their life. So
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
And buying a house can be it can be traumatic, but it's
Yeah.
not like life or death.
Yeah.
I have a client, actually, I'm doing some business with her right now, and it turns out she's my granddaughter's pediatrician too. They were moving here and we find a house. She loves it. She writes an offer on it, we get it, and then she calls me. Our contract was contingent on them selling their house out of state. She calls me one day and she's crying so hard. I cannot understand her, but I just know something bad has happened. And I go straight to the 911, like I'm thinking something really bad.
Yeah.
And she was like, I don't know how you do this. I'm like, what happened? She's like, they're not gonna buy our house here, and that means we can't buy the house there. And I'm like, you deal with babies that are dying. How in the world are you this freaked out of this moment right here? It's okay. And we ended up, she got it back under contract and we ended up closing on it and stuff. But it just struck me as funny how different people react differently. She's like, she's like, I don't know how you do this. It's so stressful. I'm like,
I'm not dealing with a
I
life. Are
feel
you kidding
like,
me?
I mean, it's stressful, but I feel like I can deal with this stress because I've
Exactly.
dealt with more, different
exactly.
stress.
No, I
for a
think,
long time.
and I think you could definitely use that to your advantage. People are looking for a reason why they should work with you. They know there's so many of us out there, and you've got like an elevator speech, you've got that many seconds to say something that's going to touch them, that's going to make them trust you and make them want to give you their contact information. So everybody has something that they can share, and whatever inspires you to do it. I did it partly because I thought I could be flexible with my kids and stuff. And yes, I could bring them along some, but I had to figure out some ways to be a little bit creative and work on weekends and evenings and things like that. So, but I would really encourage you guys to hone in on that. If I give you one piece of advice today, it has to do with, especially those of you that are single agents, because that's how I started out. I would start your database and set it up right from day one. The first time I decided to mail out Christmas cards, I'm doing this. I'm looking in an address book at home. I'm going on Flex, trying to remember where people bought houses, because I didn't have this whole thing. Training was not available to me when I started. My first broker was, he liked to turkey hunt, and I never learned anything from him at all, really real estate related, but we're still good friends. And I was grateful for the opportunity. It was a really tiny, tiny company. That's about all I had the nerve for. It was like, oh, I have to earn my way to go to Murray, and oh no, I have to earn my way to, And so and then my second broker was, the only training I ever got from her was, hey girlfriend, you look cute today. Like, that's not gonna help me sell real estate. I was maxed out. I had no idea how to leverage or anything. So if you guys do one thing today to capture these leads and to really get that system down, put them in command, set it up right. Our team has Red Door leads, my leads, Krista's leads, and Alan's leads. So if anybody ever leaves the team, their leads can go with them. And we want to make sure we protect their business and our integrity and everything by that. But if you set it up and then you guys know command, you can tag people however you want. So I'm starting these girl events because after COVID, everybody quit getting together. And so I started hosting these women events. And I couldn't believe it. It was like, oh my gosh, I can't make it, but how cool, are you gonna have another one? So I can, and everybody was just curious. All we did was I threw a bunch of wine out on the table and a charcuterie board, and everybody sat around and talked. And the person that I was most surprised that came, she was the last one to leave. And there's just this need for people to connect. I think COVID did a number on us. We walked around like this for months and there was no relationship, there was no engaging, we were scared, nobody really knew what was going to happen. And so this is just a great opportunity for us to kind of get back out there and say, hey, I'm missing. So find that thing that you do. And I hope someday you can comp the whole, stay when people come. I went to a family reunion and I head up the luxury on ALC. That's my committee. So I went to all the luxury classes or sessions or masterminds, whatever. And there are some, our market here, if you sell $1 million house, you're like, woohoo, that's awesome. Or, 1.5, 1.3, those are becoming a little more common now, but maybe 2 million. You see one every once in a while, you're like, nobody's going to spend 3 million here for a house. Like, why? You don't, that's ridiculous. So I'm sitting in these masterminds and these agents are talking about, yes, my clients bought a $45 million, mansion, and their closing gift from me was, a weekend on a private island, and I flew them in on a private jet and stuff. And I'm sitting there going, yeah, it'll never happen, So, but that's a neat thing that you're saying. That's something that I want to do.
Yeah, like my ultimate, I've kind of thought about this within the last week, like my ultimate, I heard another agent talk about someone who maybe in Texas or something, that they would buy somebody out their lease, like if they were a renter. That's a huge challenge for us right now, getting people to buy it because they're stuck in a lease. And I would love to get to that level to where I'm like, okay, you got 6 months or less on your lease and buying you out if that's what it takes to get you to purchase a home of your own rather than 100% interest, like that's the ultimate goal for me. Like it's not I know some are big like about investing and stuff, but that would be my way of investing is to be able to help people get into homeownership.
My brother lives in Nashville and Brentwood. You guys know Nashville? Well, Brentwood is like, people spend big bucks for houses and tear them down and build mansions on, they'll spend $500,000, $600,000 for an old house, tear it down and build. That's where my brother lives. And they have some investment properties and he will sign a lease with people. And then the only way they can break their lease is if they're buying a house and he represents them.
Right.
So, it's a win-win for them. It's a win-win for everybody. And that's how he makes sure that, he's got good tenants and all that, and that they're people that want to buy houses. They just need to live somewhere for a little bit. So, and let's see, what else? Nobody gets mail anymore unless it's bills. I just really encourage you guys with those handwritten notes. It's powerful.
I've been sending happy mail. I'm just sending you some happy mail.
Yeah.
And everybody is like, you have no idea.
Yeah.
I was excited to open it and they're just like fluorescent little.
And kids love to get mail. So if there's anything you find, I was thinking of you when I saw this, sticker. It doesn't cost anything but a stamp and you can get stickers for just nothing. But it makes them not hate you because I'm the one that shows up and tells them they have to keep their house clean, their rooms clean and stuff. So I can tell when the parents are like, Miss Susan's coming over and she's going to tell you that you have to clean up your room. Like, thanks for throwing me under the bus. Here's a sticker, kid. It's like having treats in your pocket for the dogs or something. So I'm like, I'm really not, I'm not that bad. But anyway, there's just so much to do. But if you don't do the foundational stuff that you're learning in Ignite, it's just not it. You're missing something. And I'm jealous of you guys because we didn't have this. And so I had to flounder around and learn the hard way. And it was it was not always the easiest thing, but I was in the right place at the right time. And I think when you show up, that does happen to you. And God just opened up some really cool doors for me to do some business with people that I would never have even dreamed in my wildest. I mean, think about this. There were about 5 agents at my brokerage when I started, and I didn't have the nerve to walk in there and post my real estate license there. I was so scared. I was that timid and shy and I didn't know anything except that I had a really bad experience with a real estate agent. And by golly, I could do better than that. And that's what fueled me. I also walked into a class that was a personality class. And what I know now is the guy was trying to recruit. He was trying to he was cherry picking the best agents in the bunch. And so he had us all take a personality profile. And then as we were leaving, he's like, oh, can I see your profile? Oh, and he told me, and you guys may, if you've been to any class I've taught, you'll hear this story from time to time, but he told me, he goes, oh, you have the least likely personality to succeed in this business. And I walked out of that class and there part of me was like, like what? And then there's this little fire in my belly. And I was like, what does he have to tell me? So on his birthday, we were friends on Facebook. And several years ago, I saw, oh, it's his birthday. So I made a post on his Facebook page. I said, you have no idea how much over the years you've inspired me in my real estate career. I just wanted to thank you so much for that.
That's hilarious.
And he was like, I know, he was like, I don't know who the hell she is, but okay, great. And by then I had kind of made a name for myself. So he was like, I wouldn't know how or why, but that's awesome. I'm so glad I could inspire you. I'm like, yeah, you threw me, basically told me I couldn't do it. And I found something inside of me that said, you can do it. So I would encourage you guys not to, people will, I have family members going,
Yes.
no idea. I didn't know. Went to visit family and my sister is sweet sister, the one that all my kids want to be, her kid, not mine. Sweet. They were very successful in opening up a medical practice. And so they were showing us around and I had only shared my success at that time with my parents. I just hadn't, it was just kind of something I held quietly. My dad's always, how's it going? How many houses do you have under contract and watching, things grow and all that. And I got home and about 2 or 3 days later, my sister called me. She said, I am so sorry. She said, Dad just shared me with what's going on for you and how much you've grown and how successful you've been. And she said, I just didn't even, they kind of wrote me off. I'm the youngest of 6 kids. I was the one that couldn't figure things out in life. I had some junk happen. And so it was just funny how she was like, oh my gosh, I had no idea. So anyway, people will definitely make you believe you can't do this. And I just wouldn't take it. And at any stage you're at, it's just keep showing up and keep getting those contacts and keep connecting and keep it organized. That was my one thing, was just, I just didn't even know where to start because there was no system in place. And we were doing our own CRMs at the time. There was no cohesive, if you did it, you were finding your own and trying to figure out which one was best, and nothing was connecting. And now we've got all these great tools that are connecting. So another thing I'll tell you is if you ever get a chance, budget wise and time wise, to go to Mega Camp or Family Reunion. Have any of you been?
Family reunion.
All right. Yeah.
February, yeah.
It's, I was recruited from Mega Camp. So I came away going, where do I sign up? This is awesome. But what I learned over the years is that's where I meet people with really fresh new ideas from other markets. Because, everybody wants to share, but sometimes you get just really candid feedback from people outside of the market. So when I go for the breakout sessions and to learn and all that stuff, but I'm wanting to connect with other agents that are going to be a good support system to me and give me great ideas. And I in turn give them great ideas. And the other thing I'll tell you is we have a lot of checklists everything in our office is a checklist. Our pie event has a checklist. Our open houses have checklists. Now, we don't have to use them all the time because we know how to do an open house. But if a new agent comes to us and offers to do an open house, they sign a contract saying, I understand I need to do this, this, and this. We will do this, this, and this, and this is how we expect you to show up. And this is our checklist, so make sure these things are done. And we identify who's putting signs out, who's, that kind of stuff. But those checklists are available if you guys want them. We're happy to share them with anybody. We got them from other teams and kind of kept grooming and picking them apart and stuff. So my email is susanherron@kw.com. If you have any questions or you want any of that.
I've got it all.
So what?
I've got it all.
Oh, there you go.
I
That's
just
right.
like,
You just have it. So, except for somebody that has an Android. We need to work on getting you a new phone.
Oh, I know, trust me, Elise and Bethany have been bullying me about
There
it.
you go.
iPhone.
So if we break early today, you promise you guys will make your contacts and do your things. Okay, can I answer any questions for you? Yes,
What is the family reunion?
okay.
uh,
Yeah, that was a weird name for
Or-
me. Family Reunion is the big conference that they have for Keller Williams, and it's any agent in the world that can come. So a lot of breakout sessions, so you go into rooms, there will be people, thank you so much, people sitting on the floor, taking notes at the sessions because, and the fire marshal just goes nuts, they're like, you can't have this many people in the room, we're like, yeah, we're not moving. So you get the top agents, top panels, and they're talking about their business and everything from being an admin, when I took Krista a couple of times and she went out to all the breakout sessions to learn how to do admin best. And and then luxury, if you want to get into commercial, you want to become an investor, if you want to become a coach or a trainer, just how to do an open house. I mean, you name it, there's a panel and there's a breakout session for it. So you go to that, and then Gary Keller gives the state of the company address and talks about all, what we're doing right, where we're growing and what we're not doing. The first time I went was, that was Mega Camp, and they brought out 3 or 4 people. One guy almost burned to death in a fire in Africa. His tribes were fighting and they locked a bunch of people in a church and they caught it on fire, and he survived. And then once he got out, he had to dig out from dead burning bodies. And when he got out, then he had to run a distance to escape them again. And he ends up in the States and he runs a nonprofit that's running, and they do all kinds of awesome things. Another guy comes out, he has no arms and legs. It's the,
Nick, is that his
Yes.
name, Nick something?
and he comes out and he gives his spiel, and somebody else, I don't remember, and he comes out, and then Gary Keller comes out, which if you ever get the chance to hear him speak, he's very no nonsense, and he just and he walks out and he looks at us and he goes, and you guys can't make your phone calls. And there was dead silence, and there's 15,000 people in that room, and everybody's just dead quiet, because it's phone calls, it's note cards, it's simple, it's connecting with people, it's asking the right questions. And these people survived, crazy. And Nick went on, he's married, his family, and can't fathom what his life is like, but he makes it work. And so there's a lot of inspirational things there. And
Mega Camp's in August, isn't it, or
parties
end of
and-
July?
Mega Camp's coming up, it's August 15th and 16th. So you would go 14th and come back the night of the 16th or the 17th. I'm staying for class on the 17th. And that is more one big group. They'll have some motivational things, not that, but a lot of information. Tim Tebow's going to be at the MAPS coaching event as a speaker. So if you're in MAPS coaching, that's helpful, but just a lot of opportunities, and you meet just people constantly. And if you're new to Keller Williams, when I got on the first plane going into Austin, everybody's talking about TL and OP and MCA and what is it, market trends and stuff like that. I'm like, what are they talking about? So Keller Williams has a unique language, and so you'll meet all kinds of people there. And I've formed some great friendships from people that I've gone to meet. So, put it on your wish list. Budget wise, don't go if you can't afford it. It's expensive this year because flights are kind of crazy, and but somebody's driving. I think Elise Ellison is taking a car down and all that.
Amy Malaya too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
That's the one that's in Austin,
yes,
Texas.
yes. And Austin's a really cool town. Weird, but that's kind of that's their value prop is keep it weird, and it's weird. It's weird. So, but the training here is just really, it's really awesome. So my office is upstairs on the north side, Red Door Associates. If you guys ever need anything, Chris is in there most mornings from like 8:30 till 2 in the afternoon or so. I'm in and out. Alan is our buyer's agent. If you want to learn how to do open houses right, Alan's your guy. He is, I invited him on our team because of the way he did open houses. And so if you want to learn how to do open houses, he's definitely Alan Wright. And we'll be like, what? You told him? I'm like, yeah.
I could just not get lost in subdivisions, setting signs, that'd be cool.
What's that?
Getting lost in subdivisions, like you think you know the way out and you do not know the way out. Or setting signs, you get turned around and I'm like, oh my God, just get me out of here.
You know, it's crazy story is I had a house, I'm divorced and remarried, and I had a listing in McGuffey. And I remember a specific phone call from a guy. I was like, yeah, he's a nosy neighbor, you know, I can't believe you wasted my time, kind of thing, like whatever. Because he was real upfront. He's like, hey, I'm not buying a house. I'm just curious about what's going on in the neighborhood. So we had a little dialogue. And that was it. So I'm putting out signs for the open house, and I put one out at at the yard and this corner and this corner, and at the front of the neighborhood of McGuffey over here, but not on the south side. But I went up, knocked on the door before I put the sign out, and I tucked my card in. They weren't there. So I took my card in so they would know, hey, I did come by to ask if I could put my sign in your yard, and I put the sign there. So fast forward 2 years, and I meet this guy that I start dating, and when I go to his neighborhood and drive around the corner, I realized that if I would have gone one more corner to ask to put a sign out, it would have been his yard. I would have met him a little bit earlier. So, and I was like, you were that guy that called. He goes, because I said, I sold that house. And he's like, I called on that house. I said, we found out we had talked.
That's funny.
So anyway, and I was bad about, oh, I'll put a sign here and here and not think about there's 2 or 3 ways in the neighborhood and how else can you brand yourself to get people to the house. So you'll notice Mark Stewart does something really cool. He puts out multiple signs and they all say market sold, market sold, market sold. And that's his slogan. So when you start thinking about Adam Grady or anybody that puts a sign out and then they put the sign in the yard and then they've got the sign at the corner and they've got sign here and sign there and all that. And everywhere you go, you're like, oh my gosh, all I see is Adam Grady signs. It's because there's one sign in the yard, but they're putting all those directionals out. So just know your laws and stuff in the communities, because Nixa will come. There's a little guy named Otis, and he'll come and take your signs if you put them out before 5 on Friday. So I don't know if Otis is still alive, but in my mind, Otis is still there. But he was ancient back then, and somebody picks up signs before 5 on Friday if you put them out. So keep that in mind.
That's interesting. I had one, I can't remember who it was for, but in Nixa, and it was the weekend of the citywide yard sales. And I was like, I'm not getting stuck in traffic on Friday before 2 o'clock.
Yeah.
So I got them out there earlier, but they didn't snack. I mean, all the garage sale
Yeah.
signs out were.
No, they
out,
weren't gonna,
so,
they make an exception for that. So
Yeah. I was like the one open house sign amongst 10 garage sale signs, so.
I had a client that was really upset because I didn't put his directionals out. I'm like, but I did. He's like, well, they're not there. So I go over and I put more out. I drive by and I see a landscape company, and the guy gets my sign and he throws it in the back of his truck and he takes off. And I mean, I went after him. Like, I paid money for those signs. You think they're free, but they're not. And so anyway, and I had a neighbor one time take a directional sign and stuck it in their garage. And my client's like, well, I saw him do it. I'm like, then why didn't you say something to him? You know, so I went, knocked on the door. I'm like, I'd like my sign back, please. What? But all right, I'm here to answer questions if you guys have any, and my office is upstairs. Chris is my office manager. She's way smarter than I am. And they Alan is a numbers guy, finance background, and very savvy on showing houses and like I said, open houses. So, and Krista's got this paperwork stuff down to a T. So if you ever have any questions, let us know. Okay, anything? All right, any questions? Write your note cards. I want to hear, you guys all have my contact information, right? Text me when you're done writing your note cards today. So it's powerful. It's a really powerful thing. All right. Thank you. I have a childhood friend coming into town this evening and I grew up in South America and she wound up in Miami and not Miami, in Tampa. And so I'm excited to see her today, later. Just never know.
When you started your QR Me, did you just click on it and put in your information and that's all you do? Guess what I'm doing?
You're right. It does not give me your contact information. I don't think. I haven't used it for a little bit. But yeah, send me your numbers and then holler if you guys ever need anything. Even if you're discouraged and just need somebody to say you can do this, because it really, there are days when you're gonna hate doing this. There are days I walk in my office, I'm like, did somebody say this was fun?
Who told me this?
Yeah, exactly. Whose idea was this anyway?
Sometimes I knew what mess I was getting into and I still did it anyway.
Mhm.
I think go to that little builder event out in.
I just literally looked at
Next,
that. I was wondering if you, well, since you were here, I figured you might know.
How did it
Mark
go?
saved from running into former brokers, like as I was leaving one of my old brokers and just pulled in.
So you did go to it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was good. They have basement homes and I was just shocked because I'm really on the hunt for that one cash buyer I got that wants the multiple living spaces.
Mhm.
So, I mean. Cronkite, it's like.
Very basic.
I-
be covered.
Yeah, no characters, is that, you know?
I was looking at this new build yesterday in Willard. And they have a Sisticel as the
Weird.
sign in the yard. And I was like, man, this is a nice house, 4-bed, 2-bath, 3-car garage, I think. I don't know, it was really nice. Stucco outside, like it just looked very modern and really beautiful. I don't know how expensive everything was, but the house is like 300 something. And I'm like, an Sisticel? I don't know. I was just like, darn it. Wish I could
Yeah, no
contact
kidding.
whoever that is.
Mm-hmm. I see what you're saying.
Mhm. Did they get new cards in or no? Okay.
I've got.
I got some at home. Well,
I
not
mean,
these,
do
but
you
other
mind?
ones. No, I'll be honest, I'm like trying to stay motivated.
Mhm.
You had a rough couple weeks. How are things going?
Oh, much better. It
Yeah.
was a sad weekend. Oh gosh, it was sad. The funeral and all that, celebration of life,
Yeah.
but definitely picked up. Well, then Father's Day, that was a little sad too. Missed my dad. I think it's still recording. But I don't know how to stop it. I wonder if I should message Shanna. I think I should text her.
Yeah, she'll text you back and tell you how to turn it off probably. But yeah, the houses were not bad out there. It's pretty, like where it sits at, like
Mhm.
the, at least the models anyway, the These are pretty nice.
Mhm.
And the takeaways are only like 300 a year or something, which isn't horrible.
That's not horrible. I will say that, Vanessa just keeps getting listings. And of course, I'm getting none, but we're in the same area. And I'm on her team.
Yeah.
Those two that she had, and
Yeah.
she sent them to me today, and I'm like, I've asked her, but I'm like, why? Like, why aren't you showing me how to do this stuff? Not only how to list them, go to your appointments.
Yeah.
Like, I want to know all this stuff. I feel like I'm not learning anything.
I know.
I know nothing.
Well, Rob was the one that sent me the invite to that thing and, you know, I feel like, well, I'm not up there enough right now anyway, because I'm doing this.
Mhm,
But then he sent me that thing and I'm like, well, I'm gonna be in Springfield all day then.
mhm,
And then tomorrow's coaching,
mhm,
plus there's Nicole, I'm gonna be in this room from 9 a.m.
mhm.
to
Till the end.
wherever Ignite ends tomorrow.
Mhm.
And then we got the pineapple whip thing.
Mhm.
So
And what's the 9 AM, the coaching?
that's the coaching group.
Yes, I'm so
Need to come.
excited. Well, tomorrow's numbers. Tomorrow Blake
Yeah,
Cook is
Blake Cook
talking.
is coming to
Mhm.
do the
So,
same, I think it's the same.
That's what I'm thinking. I should get up and
9 o'clock. It's
Mhm.
worth it,
Mhm.
Yeah.
especially tomorrow.
Yeah.
And actually the Friday group, I
Friday
know if
group's a
you
lot of
come-
fun too. I like go to that one too. And
I went to the one this last week. I mean, it's hard to get up and be there at 8 a.m.
It takes me an
But-
hour and 5 minutes to get there. on
I mean,
Fridays.
yeah, I'm out by the airport, so it takes me a hot minute to get there too, but it's
It's
worth
so
it, 'cause
good.
it's good
Mhm.
information.
She pushes you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I need.
Well, yeah, I'll be here, and then tomorrow Nicole's doing a class at 11, so
Mhm.
immediately after coaching, I got the class
That's
with,
the agent website.
yes,
That's
which
what
I don't
need to
even,
do that.
I don't know how to get to my website, I don't know what it looks like.
Your website should just be your first last name .kw.com.
Yeah, I don't know what it looks like, I don't know how to get there.
Go to,
Isn't it the
Like
app
it
is.
KW?
huh?
Isn't it just the KW app and that's your website?
I set mine up I got my computer and set it up. It's
I
crazy
think
easy.
mine's set up, but I don't know.
Do your
how to-
first and last name. Whatever you signed up under Keller Williams. And then see if it's .kw.com.
It's on the command app too, right?
You should be able to
That's
get,
where you can
is that where
find
you,
it.
yeah.
The site.
So then go through get on your command. On your computer.
Like, I went to where the agent sites thing on command, and it asks you, it has you connect it, and then you publish it, I guess.
Yes.
I did that, but I still don't know.
You should have put in like what you want your website to be, which is normally your first and last name .kw.com. Whatever happened with the couple? What did they decide? Did the judge change their bond?
Yes. He changed their bond, so they had to spend that whole weekend in there. And then, of course, Monday comes around, that's usually when they get out. They didn't get out till Tuesday, late. They're on app monitors, not ankle, but app monitors. He did lower the bond to like, I want to say 25,000 each. So whatever that percentage is, yeah, they had to actually bond out. Which
And that's money they'll never get back, right?
I have no idea. I don't know how that works. And I know she went back to work today because she had the rest of the week off. I don't know about him, but It's like really bad, like they're basically gonna have to wait this out. They both have court like in the next couple months.
Who has the baby? Or the
They
two?
still have him, but they had to fill out paperwork with child services on him. And then I talked to his aunt at the funeral on Saturday, and she said that they've said there's something in the paperwork that's gonna come out that's gonna make them look really bad, but they haven't told the family what it is. And I didn't know what she was talking about.
Probably that's a loaded gun.
I mean, everybody knew it. I don't
Yeah, but I
know.
think seeing it in writing,
Maybe, I don't know. It was the weirdest thing. Like, I don't know. Like, I want to ask, and I know she'd tell me because obviously I was there. I was like part of it. But I don't know why they would keep that from me, especially if I have to testify in that situation. It's like,
unless our lawyer said just
yeah.
say nothing.
And that's probably what has happened is, I don't
Because then if
know.
you're asked at court, did they tell you?
Yeah.
You can say no.
Because I really have no idea. I mean, I honestly, parts of me wish I knew, but I don't know.
You'll know soon enough.
Yeah. I don't know if there was something else found or if, I don't know. From what I saw, yeah, and I mean, in the initial report, I didn't see anything about that, like. I don't know. I wish I knew. It would give me a peace of mind in a way, but then I also am kind of glad I don't know. It's
And
just,
even if you did, there's nothing you can.
there's nothing I can do. I think they have separate court dates though, like they're.
They're being tried individually. So I
And
wonder
even
if they'll
though
get
they
something
got
she won't.
married in October, they got married October 22nd, even though they got married, they're still doing them separate. Yeah. I know, it is literally the craziest thing. Ask Shannon if she wanted me to turn off the record.
Oh,
She's like, "Yes, please."